This video is sponsored by Squarespace. The least interesting part of any iPhone video, the unboxing. Let's do this quick. Oh! Here's what I'm sending my iPhone 15 Pro back in. I think I got like $400 worth of trade-in value. Oh! Nothing like the feeling of a new iPhone without a case. I've been waiting for a peachy iPhone. I will say, the iPhone XR was much more peachy. This cosmic orange is a little bit more of a rust color, but hey, I'll take it. Usually go with the clear MagSafe case, but that is so ugly this year, so I'm going with the peach on peach combo. I think this looks great. Listen, I know I'm not getting this video out the same week that the new iPhones came out, so you guys have already gotten the full spec rundown. That's not what we're gonna be doing today. I would like to double click and also give my opinions about the features that actually matter. Should you upgrade? Spoiler alert, if you're on the iPhone 14 Pro or older, yeah, I think you should upgrade, especially if content creation is a big part of your life or just capturing memories of your family. If you have the 15 Pro or the 16 Pro, it's a little bit more nuanced, but we're gonna get into it. You guys know that I focus on the cameras a lot, and we're gonna do that in today's video, but let's start with the non-camera hot takes. Listen, the last iOS 18, was hot trash. I never even upgraded to it. Yeah, I've been on iOS 17 on my iPhone 15 Pro for 2 years. I didn't update to the 16 Pro because, well, it was a very lackluster phone. Who cares? And iOS 18 was just so bad.
That's iOS 18.
One look at that new Photos app and I was like, nope, no thank you. And so as I reluctantly unboxed my new iPhone 17 Pro with iOS 26, I was a little scared because, you know, iOS 17 to me was home. But honestly, I like the glassiness. I like iOS 26. I think it's a nice refresh. Look, there's some not so great stuff. Like, they definitely sacrifice some readability when it comes to some of the glassy aesthetics. And then also just for Apple apps, it seems like things that used to take 1 click now take 2 and 3 clicks. A good example is Safari. Just creating a new tab or seeing all of the tabs is now 2 clicks, or you have to know the shortcuts of swiping up or swiping to the right, which, I mean, hopefully people know that, but a lot of normals probably won't. Me personally, I went into the Safari settings and changed it back to how it used to be. It now resembles what it used to be in iOS 17. But yeah, that's a theme that I've been starting to notice across a lot of their apps, which is annoying. But hey, overall, iOS 26, it's fine. It's good. It's pretty. Apple Intelligence and Siri in general, still a massive disappointment, and honestly probably Apple's biggest fumble, not ever, but definitely the biggest one in the past 5 years. Wow. Are any days this week going to be above 90 degrees? Well, give me the answer. What temperature should the water be when making herbal tea? Oh, okay, that gave me a direct answer. On one hand, I loved that the previous keynote wasn't just bombarded with Apple Intelligence this and AI that. They definitely gave it a rest, but they had to because there's nothing new. I really do not care about generative, like, Apple emojis and things like that. Let's get some useful AI in our phones, please. The fact that 2 years ago, they made such a big deal about switching to titanium. Oh my God, the iPhones are super strong, but hey, it wasn't that great for overheating and just cooling in general. And so now they're back to aluminum just 2 years later, which is causing Scratchgate. Oh no. But hey, this is actually something that I am A-okay with, because just 2 years ago, I was debating, oh my gosh, do I need to get the Pro Max? I'm such a big fan of the smaller Pro size, but the battery is just not the best in the Pros. I always have to top off at the end of the day. That is now gone. Granted, I've only been using this for a little over a week, but that classic every day at 5 p.m. where I gotta, you know, find a charger or put a MagSafe charger on my phone, that's gone. I no longer have to do that. This is actually pretty crazy for me. It's almost 1 a.m. Picked up my phone at 7 a.m. and I still have 22% battery life. That's crazy. I mean, I wasn't on my phone a ton today. Still, that's good stuff. 22%. When I'm going to bed, did not put it in the charger once. That never happened with my iPhone 15 Pro, so I'm a big fan of that. And we're still getting that extra juice out of the battery with a brighter screen. 3,000 nits instead of 2,000 at peak brightness outside. Yes, 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 that is something that I'm a huge fan of. I am always shooting outdoors with my kiddo, with my family, and so the fact that I can shoot, and then keep my phone at full brightness, go into my editing apps and get to editing and post right away, day without my iPhone 17 Pro screen dimming on me. Oh my gosh, that is so annoying. That hasn't happened yet. And the screen is nice and bright outside in the sun. Yes. Love it. So shout out to the aluminum chassis, shout out to the vapor chamber that's helping the cooling. A couple new things that we got in the past couple years that I still think are just super stupid. The action button, yeah, do you map your action button to anything other than turning your ringer on and off? No, probably, right? So give me back the classic toggle. And then the camera control button. Do you use the camera control button? I use it sometimes, I guess, but you know, still just not life-changing, but that's okay. All right, we need to get into the camera stuff with the iPhone 17 Pro, because that's honestly what I care about the most. What should you actually care about? And honestly, I feel like a few things need to be cleared up because people are kind of confused with open gate and the selfie camera and the different sensors. So let's just hop right into it. Okay, so despite the upgrades, these three cameras are not all the same. People think because they're all 48 megapixels now, they must be using the same sensor. The telephoto sensor is now 56% larger. Hey, that all sounds great. No, they are not all the same sensors. The main wide angle camera has always been the largest sensor and still is. That's why when you switch over to the ultra wide lens and it's a low light situation, your footage or photo all of a sudden looks very grainy compared to the wide. That's because the wide is always going to be the best sensor and the best hardware that you got going on. So the ultra wide and telephoto sensors, even though they've gotten different upgrades, they're still the smaller sensors. And that's why honestly, when I'm out shooting, whether it's for content or it's my daughter running around, most of the time I am always sticking to the wide. It's definitely how I get the best pictures and best video out of a modern day iPhone. So not a lot has changed with the wide angle camera since the 15 Pro. It's basically been the same sensor, the same hardware since the 15 Pro, with of course some software tweaks along the way and some overall improvements that did not happen from the 15 to 16 that are now happening from the 16 to 17 thanks to the new image pipeline with the new chip in this phone, the A19 Pro. And this is going to help improve noise reduction, better HDR, more refined detail retrieval, you know, all of that software goodness. However, one big improvement that happened from the 15 to 16 that I'm very excited about, because again, I didn't upgrade to the 16, is 4K 120 frames per second. That slow-mo is very welcome, and I've already got some great 4K 120 clips. Yes, we are a juggling family here. Something that did change that is brand new is ProRes RAW. What makes ProRes RAW unique in just RAW codecs in general is you have the ability to adjust values like ISO and white balance after you shoot them in your video editor like DaVinci Resolve. This is super powerful and honestly takes a lot of the pressure off of getting the image right when you're actually shooting it. And now you have the ability to not just shoot ProRes RAW, but ProRes RAW open gate. So instead of just shooting in the 16:9 aspect ratio, you get more vertical real estate. And this is really helpful when you're shooting one piece of content, but then you can edit it for both vertical platforms and horizontal. Having that extra real estate, those extra pixels is super helpful. But something that people aren't highlighting is the fact that you can actually shoot open gate with older iPhones as well. There are apps like Perla and OpenCam where you can shoot open gate on literally any lens. iPhone 16s and 15s and 14s can all do this. Not ProRes RAW open gate, but just open gate to get that extra resolution if shooting, you know, one video clip and then posting it to both Instagram and YouTube is important for you. This is actually extremely helpful and not something that a lot of people talked about before the fact that open gate was mentioned, you know, on the stages of an Apple keynote. Okay, but what about the ultra wide and telephoto? Well, for the ultra wide, we actually saw the biggest jump from the iPhone 15 to the 16. That's when the ultra wide camera got an upgrade from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels, but it's the same from the 16 to 17. So me coming from the 15, I definitely welcome that improvement. And then of course, Apple talked a lot about their new telephoto. Not a lot happened with the telephoto from the iPhone 15 to 16, but now we got that upgrade in resolution from the 16 to 17 from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels and that 56% larger sensor. So when I'm comparing this to my iPhone 15, you know, it does have greater detail, a little extra crispy. I love it. Good. I'll take it. I'll accept it. But the upgraded telephoto telephoto, at least for me, would not be enough to upgrade from the 15 to 17. The selfie camera maybe, and we're about to talk about that. But before we move on to that, I just want to highlight what I think is still the biggest upgrade that the iPhone has gotten in the past decade in terms of content creation. It's not ProRes RAW, it's not the ability to shoot an open gate, it is the ability to shoot an Apple log. And we saw this upgrade with the iPhone 15 Pro. The only difference with this with the iPhone 17 Pro is the introduction of Apple Log 2. In my initial testing, Apple Log 2 actually does render the skin tones very nicely. I think it is more accurate to just what I'm seeing with my eyeballs. Apple Log 1 skews kind of just on the warmer side. Of course, that's something that you can fix with a little bit of color correction, but just right out of the box when you do the color transform and resolve, Apple Log 2 is just, it looks very nice. I'm a big fan. But as you can tell, when you compare the Apple processing straight from the Apple camera app when shooting in 4K 24 compared to shooting an Apple log in the app like the Blackmagic camera app, it just looks so good. It is so easy to mix Apple log footage with real camera footage, you know, when I'm using like a Sony camera or just, you know, a big camera. Don't get me wrong, footage straight out of a modern day iPhone looks so good. It's unbelievable what they can do, not just on the hardware side, but more importantly on the software side to give the everyday Joe a beautiful image. But if you know how to actually go into a software like Resolve and tweak some things and do a tad bit of color grading, heck, you don't even have to know how to color grade just to apply a LUT to the log footage. It looks so good. It looks so crispy. It looks so filmy. I kid you not, my daughter's entire life is literally documented in Apple Log with my iPhone. Now, I do carry my Leica Q2 around a lot for nice family photos. I really enjoy that process. But when it comes to video, I'm actually not hauling around my A7S a lot. It's a lot of iPhone and it's a lot of Blackmagic camera app and shooting Apple Log and sometimes just burning the LUT straight into the footage. So if you're on an iPhone 13 or 14 and you haven't experienced Apple Log yet, ooh, it might be the time to upgrade because I truly feel like you're missing out. Okay, I've been holding out. I haven't talked about actually my favorite upgrade when it comes to the iPhone 17 Pro, which I'll tell you about after this quick word from our sponsor, Squarespace. All right, now we have multiple different cameras running at the same time. To give you some context on what we're talking about, we're gonna switch into ProRes RAW open gate so you can see the differences. We are not shooting in log profiles yet. I'm gonna show you these different profiles as I tell you about this video sponsor, Squarespace. You guys know I love Squarespace. My website, saradietschy.com, has been Squarespace for almost 10 years now. It is your one-stop shop for building a beautiful online presence. Whether you need a creative portfolio, like how I use it, own a restaurant, or you're selling digital goods online or physical goods, Squarespace is the place to do it. I've designed my website, saradietschy.com, over a long period of time. So I was able to drag and drop things wherever I wanted them on my website, and I got a really custom solution, and I love it. I can sell both my physical goods and digital goods under one umbrella, and it just comes together beautifully. But if you're just getting started, I can understand how that can be kind of intimidating. So Squarespace has a Blueprint AI where you can spin up your website in just a few clicks. You input a few bits about your business and voila, you have a beautiful website ready for you where you can integrate all of their amazing tools for scheduling and selling goods, blogging, hosting content, all of the things. Okay, so now I've put the iPhone 17 Pro into Apple ProRes RAW OpenGate 4K the Apple Log 2. So if I was posting this video to both social and YouTube, I'd be able to crop it vertically and also crop it horizontally. And the fact that I'm shooting RAW, well, I can change the ISO, bring it up, bring it down. White balance. Okay, I feel like I have to hurry up my talking because the fact that I am filming Apple ProRes RAW, you can only do it using an external SSD, means that I am just flying through tens of gigs of footage as I'm talking with you right now. That gives me anxiety. Anyways, if that piques your interest and you're like, wow, it's time to actually build a creative portfolio, or hey, I want to start making merch, I want to build that course. I just built my course, studiosetup.com, with Squarespace. If you're like, hey, it's time to do this, well, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to get started, use offer code SaraDietschy, that's me, for 10% off your first purchase of a domain or website. All right, it's time to talk about the selfie camera. The The selfie camera, we have to talk about this one because I would say it is arguably the biggest change from the 16 to the 17 Pro. We've had the same 12 megapixel true depth camera here on the iPhone since the iPhone 10. It's been a minute. For the iPhone 14 Pro, they did make the aperture bigger, but this guy has been the same for a while. So this resolution bump from 12 megapixels to 18 megapixels is very, very welcome.
Let me hold it, but you already have these.
Say hi. Okay, so I feel like the selfie cam looks just fantastic. I'm a big fan of this upgrade. And the coolest part, say hi first of all to baby Peach and John. Hello. The coolest part is it's now a square sensor, so you don't have to turn your phone horizontal to shoot a horizontal photo. So you can shoot, you know, both portrait and landscape photos with this square sensor while your phone is just like this. This is a more natural way to hold your phone. Okay, so now I'm filming landscape horizontal video while my phone is vertical. Isn't that crazy, baby?
Look how vertical that phone is.
Look how vertical that phone is. You know, there's all this talk about open gate this and that, but hey, of course you could film open gate on the selfie camera with those apps like OpenCam and stuff like that. But I want the full square. Give me the full square, full open gate square, not 4x3. Do all your social media or hanging out with your family and then just crop vertical and horizontal, the same content. I think that would be dope.
Try this one. There's like steam coming off of it from how cold it is.
Cookies and cream with rainbow sprinkles, mint, chocolate chip, special vegan flavors for the boy.
Yes.
It's a party. Good job! Yeah! But this is another misconception. When people hear open gate, they just think, oh, I can film the entire sensor. But that's not true for the selfie camera. You know, it is a square sensor, but the only open gate you can do is 4x3 open gate, not the full square sensor. And I tweeted about this, and oh my gosh, someone shared with me from a breakdown that it's actually not a square sensor, it's an octagon. So Apple is lying to us.
Good title and thumbnail right there.
Yeah. So even though I think it would be amazing to have that full selfie sensor to shoot just like life stuff, but also social media content, because again, that means I could crop it vertical for Instagram and then horizontal for YouTube. Now we know it's not a full square, but an octagon. So I'm using this opportunity to lobby for octo selfies. I want to be taking octagon selfies and octagon video. Apple, are you there? Do you hear me? Hashtag octo selfies. Oh my gosh. Oh, good job.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. Okay, see, now I'm using the app OpenCam to film open gate with my selfie cam, but imagine if I just had a little bit more room here. That's what it would be like shooting with the full square sensor or octagon sensor. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that little slice of family life over here. That's really all we be doing now. Wish, you know, new iPhone, people are traveling to Iceland, Japan, and I'm just showing you guys a little slice of my life now.
I worked on this actually.
Baking in the sun. Oh! Hold on, we got a 4K 120 that.
Let's do it.
Being out and about with the fam though is really what I use my iPhone the most for. But yeah, hey, I had a very exciting good day with these little ones. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my perspective on the iPhone 17 Pro. Always fun to get new phones, gadgets, cameras, all of the things. Stuff like today, I actually usually always film in Apple Log, but I just wanted to show you some of the great footage that comes straight from this phone. I use Blackmagic Cam for all of that. I cannot emphasize this enough. Apple Log, if you want your family memories from your iPhone to look like you're shooting them with a real camera. And with the introduction of Apple Log 2, ooh, those skin tones are looking so good. Let me know if you like this video. Hit that subscribe button down below for new videos every single week. And check out my Squarespace link in the description below. Until next time, wow, stay peachy. Okay, bye. From the Peachy iPhone.